This bridge connecting China and North Korea once bustled with trade, but thanks to UN sanctions, it's become primarily a place for tourists. Ahead of the summit between President Donald Trump and Kim Jong-Un, traders in Dandong City are optimistic for a return to business as usual, with a country Mao Zedong once described as being as close to China as lips and teeth.
They fought together during the Korean War. China sacrificed a lot of soldiers in that fight.
This friendship frayed after Kim Jong-un came to power in 2011 and began weapons testing. But with nuclear talks on the table, relations have suddenly warmed, with the North Korean leader making not one, but 2 visits to China in the space of 40 days.
He wants to have China in his corner, or at least show that China is somewhat supportive of him, that he's not in this alone, and that ultimately China probably has some red lines.
Those red lines would be possible military action against the North or additional UN sanctions should talks with the United States break down. Both would be impossible without Chinese input. For Beijing, closeness with the North ensures its own interests are protected.
Trump meeting Kim is a huge risk from China's perspective. 2 unpredictable leaders, who knows where it's going to go. But I think what China would like to see happen is that really kicks off a longer process and a more detailed process of diplomatic negotiations.
Unnerved by weapons on its border and the possibility of relations with Pyongyang souring once again, Tong Zhao says China's main goal is for the North to denuclearize, something it believes is unlikely to happen without economic growth or a formal Korean peace treaty.
China understands why North Korea feels it has to have nuclear weapons to safeguard its regime's survival.
Beijing believes the best way forward is to help the North develop economically and is doing what it can without violating UN sanctions. Air China recently resumed flights between Beijing and Pyongyang and even provided a jet to fly Kim to Singapore. Chen Xiaohe says it proves China isn't trying to thwart talks, as a tweet from Trump implied.
金正恩去新加坡跟特朗普见面了，我想中国的话呢，只会扮演积极的支持者的角色，而不会扮演我们说破坏者。
While China is hoping for a successful summit in Singapore, it's also concerned about it being too successful. A burgeoning friendship between Trump and Kim could risk the North being used by the US to contain China in the future. For now, Beijing's top priority is ensuring it remains closer to Pyongyang than Washington. In Beijing, Katrina Yu, SBS World News.